Then 47,
Just.
we'll go back to
What's this for?
1047.
Yeah, well,
We'll go back to item,
This is, no,
Seven. on the
item
first
7.
but this is.
Item 7 is consideration and action on and ordering candidacy to return to me, declaring the result of the November 5th, 2013 certificate of obligations election amendment election. Motion
No motion yet, Judge, until you canvass.
to canvass, no motion to canvass.
Yes, I guess we could, yes. Sorry, Judge.
Motion to canvass, vote Commissioner Gomez, Commissioner Morales, all in favor?
Okay. And then we can accept the order of that same day. And Rose is gonna go into canvass. Verna's gonna assist us on the adding machine.
Better than just a.
You have one each to renew and they will turn it on.
Box 311, 7, 60, 187. 31, 37, 168. 34 and 29, 163. 96. 68. 164. Okay, about 12. 72. 78. 150. 157. 32. 171. 18. 189. 96. 91. 97. Box 313. 87. 90. 177. 174. 218. 165. 36. 209. 109. 195. 204. Okay. Box 414. 19. 140. 239. 198. 49. 247. 37.
Cavity search.
201. 19. 416. 111.
I'm afraid of heights. Yeah, I can do that. I can just, that day, Ralph took me up to that jail.
Oh, man.
Said, well, how you get up there? Well, I thought, you know, it was a nice ladder and everything. You open that thing, like that. Get up there, and you have to jump a little bit and hang on and just pull yourself.
I was froze from yesterday, he was,
Oh, he probably got sick.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And you know, the Ralph just went up there and he said, well, you're gonna walk up there. I'm walking, I can see from right here. He went inside, he went to the top and on the edges, he was walking like nothing. He man.
He got like a little edge like that, and he was walking around, he was doing a dance. He was on the-
Man. didn't get it down.
Well,
I thought they had a stiff ladder or something going on there, right? No.
maintenance on that ticket,
You have to jump on that margin.
I think it's come very close to giving him legal advice. And prohibition against
He called me Sunday night.
is actionable.
You think it's leaking or what?
That could subject
We'll let it
him
dry and
to
see.
a judicial grievance.
We have a warranty, guarantee of labor, leak,
If
burn a call up and
that language was
Send them a payment and see something.
received as being. Yeah. I can do that.
God bless him. He just gets to be, he does.
Yesterday when we were there, man, I thought we were gonna make it.
You can't do it either.
I know, but I went to the corner, like a deer.
They're like,
He was trying to get his wife and husband.
probably business everywhere. Yeah. I'm a member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Do what? Most people thought they were just lines. They were just employees here. Otherwise,
Yeah, but they were together, no field.
13.
Oh, maybe the way they were coming in, actually, they had them together.
They were coming.
That's why.
Made it legal.
No,
access to old rifles.
Yeah.
Not with the resource. And if they offer that carrot, if you go and fight, give you free of that. 20 acres, that's real nice. Hell of a work. But it wasn't about slavery. They tried, man.
Yeah.
See if I can talk to the owner that owns the, it's all right, parking's all right.
Yeah.
It's right there, 181, I believe it was a long, in the burn man. They did look pretty down, so they don't have really big ones. No, but the other one up ahead, they don't want them. Where they see
We're through with the amendment, we done the certificates of opposition. Yes. Okay, and Judge, they completed checking all of those and verified.
Everything checked out then, an order approving the canvas, motion, Mr. Gomez, file, all in favor?
All right.
That's what we're laboring with.
Village staff will send in the orders, Judge, and I will pass them to you. They want several different copies. So if you would go ahead and sign those, we will have those too. And while you're doing that, Judge, if I could please say my public comments. At this time, I'm not on the agenda, but I would like to make a few public comments in reference to the election. We've had a couple of issues that I just need to bring to your attention and we will put them on the agenda. There is one polling place that will not be able to utilize it in the future. They're planning on selling pepperoni's pizza. And if they do that, then we would not be able to use that location. I brought that to the attention of Commissioner Gomez to see if they can find a suitable location for the next election. We did bring a couple of other things to his attention on another polling place, but we've discussed them and we've resolved that, so we won't go into that. We did have a couple of issues that I do want to bring to your attention. And now that you have the voter ID where you present your driver's license, in that bill, we were not aware until Rose and I went to school, the impact that it would make. The voter registration and your driver's license, they would like for it to match, okay? So they come up with a thing called a voter similar names, and we had a couple of issues in it. That's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Secretary of State said that we could take their little card when they came in, and if it did not match their driver's license, they could flip it over and print the name as it appears on their driver's license and then sign it, and we would pick up that card. The reason we're allowed to pick up that card is because there are no more elections the rest of the year, and the card expired at the end of the year. In the primary, we would not be able to retrieve that card. We would simply then ask them to do a similar name change, okay? And then they also initial where they sign in. It will slow down the lines, I can tell you that. If you as a candidate or as an elected official would pass that word around to everybody, that if they can correct it before the primary, it would be greatly assist us in moving those lines during the primary. Now, we will have these forms. We will instruct our election judges as we did before and try to get it resolved, but it will slow down the lines, I will tell you.
But, Ms. Ingle, is there any way that, we could figure out something to, like, have volunteers, like, in fairs or meetings and things to try to correct this prior to election? Is there any way, can you kind of just research and see if there's something that we can do ahead of time to alleviate some of that?
Yes,
I
I'd be glad to
don't know
look into
exactly
it.
what would work, but if we can
Do something to make it more efficient.
make it more efficient, if, just, come up with something if you can, the ideal as to how we might get people in to change it or whatever, and
Because I think you're gonna have a lot of problems.
well, this was a very small election. We
Yes.
had like less than 10% of the total registered voters vote, and it slowed things down.
So if the license don't match what you
They're
got right now,
requesting, Secretary of State's requesting that
Requesting
you
for
do
you
the
to fill out a
similar
form.
name affidavit, okay?
If the paper's printing this in there, what would the citizens need to do at this point in time
They
to
would
correct
need
it?
to look at their voter registration and then check their driver's license. If it matches, not a big deal, or
That's what
any,
it's
or whatever form of ID they want to use. Okay, if they use a concealed handgun as their ID, then that's fine. If it matches, then there's nothing that they need to do. But if it does not match, we would recommend that they go to the voter registrar and get it corrected.
And that would be
immediately.
here in this office for now.
Yes,
I
at
mean,
the voter
that's all.
registration office and annex number 3. Yes, we would appreciate that very much, and that would expedite our lines so that we could move it. We did not realize when we passed that voter ID that they also had this additional language about the similar name.
Can they do something by mail? Or do they have to physically come to this voter registrar's office and fix things?
Well, the thing has to be this form.
Yes, and it has to be an original, so our recommendation is that they come in person.
We did have some people, some, I can't say quite a few people come before the election, because it was on the news, mainly in San Antonio. And people were under the assumption that it had to match, and so they came in and filled out the paperwork. But as Eva said, they can use one of the 7 forms of ID, but if they do that, then that is the ID they have to show each time. Like, we got a lot of them that about handguns. Say a person came in and the driver's license didn't match, and we'd say, well, do you have anything else? Well, you know, they'll open that wallet and all kind of stuff falls out. And so if the military ID match, we just use that. We also have to advise them, in the future, use this every time. You know, otherwise they have to sign on this, and most people didn't have a problem with it, but we weren't exceptionally busy. So,
Good notorial election would be.
yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare, I'll tell you that right now, because even the people who are proposed said that it really slowed their line down. And it was like, what, the 3rd day before we got the email that we could use the.
Right, we could flip the card
They
over.
sped it up.
So when I worked the polling place in Laverne, it worked out real well.
Mhm.
They handed the card, because they bring both of them, they bring their card and their ID, the photo ID, flipped it over, and our lines went real quickly. But not everybody brings both things in.
Right.
So then this is what the other one is.
But like that little card, I mean, I know voter registration is open from 8 to 5 or
Yeah.
something like that. And, you know, for the people that don't work in town,
Yes.
getting to the office to do this might be a problem. So that's why I was asking if there's something they could do via mail or.
I would have to check with Secretary of
Possibly
State,
download,
possibly if we have a substation, I think they collect, don't they do voter, no, auto registration in a couple of locations, do they?
I think most of, they used to, but I think
They do it online.
They've brought
It's online.
either in or online.
Unless we can put
Nikki
this
is,
on.
Yes.
Nikki is.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you leave some of those with us at the library, since we're open later and through the weekend?
Let me check with Olga,
Yeah.
and then we'll find a system of way of getting them to you and for you to get them back
There's
to
probably,
her.
probably have to be some kind of certification of who's doing it.
Right,
Yeah,
that's why I
you
need
have
to
to
get
do
with
it.
Ms. Olga on
You
that.
know,
If- if-
but-
You're
but we
welcome to
appreciate that.
use this as an outlet if you need it.
Okay, and we thank you for
But if an
that.
individual filled out that we voted this last time,
No,
doesn't
no,
work.
it'll be fine. And we addressed every single person that went through the line.
And we don't want to leave any misconception here. If you come in with your ID and your voter, this process will still work, it'll just be very slow.
Yeah, that's all that we're saying.
Yeah.
And
We don't wanna
they,
be
if they
denied
offer
the
not to,
vote.
they don't have
No,
to.
no, not in any way. No, you are not in any way. And we did want to report that we were short provision in this election. So I did want to bring that to your attention.
Other questions, comments? If not, we'll be, yes.
Can we go back?
Yes, okay, thank you very much. I meant to take it up before we went to the deal, and I didn't. What,
There's no trouble, each have one, if somebody approaches you about what it is.
we're going back to item what is it, 18B3. On, item 3, County Road 345, 4017, Clinton Nichols, discuss and take action. What we discussed, and I asked Leanne if she would word it so he could do it. He didn't want to start the whole process over and have to wait until a scheduled meeting to deal with it. And so, if he goes ahead and gets his survey in stating that there's a 40-foot road frontage, then he can proceed with it, knowing that once it's intact, that it's approved on all other merits from the court.
And with that 40-foot of road frontage, then he can claim the family exemption because it is going to his daughter. So if he would have done that in the first place, he wouldn't have even had to come to us to do it.
And
So, I don't.
That clear up everything
Table
that,
it and then it's-
It gives me an option, yeah.
Okay.
I think we just approve it under that.
Approve it under
Condition
So
that he comes in with the 40-foot
No,
well,
40-foot
but-
road frontage.
Frontage.
40-foot road frontage, that,
We prove it,
and
he'll have to bring, I guess, proof of that to you at a point, is
Yes.
that correct, or?
yes, he'll have to bring where he filed it with the clerk to her, that it's been done and it's there.
Yeah, and that will close the file
Close the file.
on this.
Motion, Commissioner Wiley, second Commissioner Fowle, all in favor?
So it's approved contingent.
Thank you. Sorry for delaying, I like I said, I meant to bring it up when we come back in before we did the canvas.
Excuse me, sir. Slide it.
We'll add it in.
So we have now,